Yeah, so where do you take it from here? Can you throw a motor on there? Like, what does it look like to put a few lines
Yeah,
down the
absolutely.
schematic?
So if we go to the schematic tool here and we hit insert symbol, it's going to remember the last symbol that you use. But if I hit other symbol, it's going to jump in and we're going to see everything behind the scenes. So these are all the symbols in our symbol library.
Okay.
These are groups that we would have here. And if I click motors, then you'll see a bunch of different types of motors. If I were to add a three-phase motor, then I can place that on my schematic. Now that's usually where most CAD systems stop, is they're just going to drop down a motor symbol.
Sure.
And if I were to double click on that, that's going to bring this window back up that we just previously saw. If you wanted this to be called MTR instead of M, I can just hit OK and it's going to change it. Not only does it change it on this symbol, it changes it on every symbol, including over in 3D because it has a tag associated with it.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask here. Okay, you got the symbol on there. Sure, it's like AutoCAD or something. But how on the mechanical side does this symbol link to like the actual motor I'm putting in SolidWorks?
Absolutely. So when I double click this, if I go to manufacture parts and circuits, because you search with the wrench, you're going to click the search wrench, and we're going to go find a motor. In this case, we can find any motor in here, and I'm just going to associate. There's a Leroy Somer motor right here. And I'll hit my plus sign. When I do that, I'm telling the software like, "Hey, I know that I put a generic three-phase motor down, but it really means this specific manufacturer part. Just like if you were to go to procurement and like order entry team, you say, "Hey, I need a breaker." They're going to say, "What part number?"
Yeah.
So that's what we're telling the software here is what motor this actually is. When I
Okay.
click on this and hit properties, you'll see kind of where the rubber meets the road. So this is the part number that we're going to list in our bill of material now. And you'll see that there's a couple different things here. One of the biggest things that people like is this article number, because at my last company, we had, like in this case, Leroy Somer has a part number for it, and that's this reference. We sold it to a customer at a different part number, and then we purchased it from our supplier at a third part number. And
Hmm.
so we can manage all three of those part numbers here in SOLIDWORKS Electrical because it's all wrapped up in this one, what we call manufacturer part.
Okay, so the library seems super important to me then. Like this is the connection, right? When you're saying, "Hey, this is the what the symbol actually represents." Now my SolidWorks guys, they have the 3D file. When you run your bill of materials or report, purchasing knows exactly which one to buy. And I imagine you mentioned like cross-reference stuff earlier. If you put the same motor on another sheet, that they're linked together. Is this what
Absolutely.
other softwares like, I don't know, AutoCAD Electrical or like Visio, is this the piece that they miss?
I would say, yeah. So if you need to redo something, because we all always get it right the first time. If something needs to change, then you go make the change one time, and that change disseminates across your entire schematic package, whether it's part number or name of component or where it's located in your project. That information is then translated everywhere,
Mm.
including over into 3D.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing that has, been the thing for SolidWorks, since like the late 90s or whatever, but you still see it all the time if you're working with DWGs and DXF and then you move to SolidWorks, it's like there's only one representation of anything really. Like you have a plate with a hole in it, that plate's used in 10 different assemblies, you make the hole bigger, it's bigger everywhere, right? And I
Yep.
feel like that's been missing in schematic software. Like it seems way later to catch up to being, I don't know if you call it parametric, but all linked together that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could use the word parametric if we're going to use like a CAD buzzword.
Yeah.
It's definitely 2D parametric. Let's throw that out there.
Okay.
But here's an example, right? I'm gonna show you an example of just like a regular connector.
Okay.
If I were to place a connector in here using what we call the dynamic connector tool, I'm going to hit insert connector, and it's going to ask me what connector are we using. In this case, I'll use an amp connector that has 12 connections or 12 pins and I'll hit select. I get an opportunity to name what this connector is going to be. So J's or P's or X's or CONs, you name it, you can hit OK and it's going to place a specific connector. Now we have configurations that drive a lot of things. So in this case, I'm going to choose a custom dynamic connector. I'm just going to put it in the default orientation like so. Now I want to point out that I can say, hey, I only want to insert like the first 6 terminals. And you'll notice that that symbol got a little bit smaller, kind of shrunk down a little bit. And when I place that, it says, hey, this is J1, it's an amp, and it shows the part number. And then if I were to put this somewhere else in my project and place that down, it's still the same component. But here's what's beautiful about it. We were talking about the project structure, but the other side to the project coin here, if you will, is the locations. And the
Mm.
locations inside of an electrical project is where things live. And this is the first step in tying electrical 3D to your electrical schematic project. And you can see that I have this connector J1, and there's 2 symbols that represent it. If I double click on it, it's going to take me to both of them. So wherever it is inside the project, you just double click and it takes you right there. Now check this out though. If I were to go to project and I change this to a P, let's say that you got to change the gender of the connector. This P or that J1 is now P1 and so is that one.
Mm.
So it changes it everywhere.
Yeah, wherever it is in the project. Is this a pretty different workflow, from other softwares? Like when people are coming, hey, we already use, I don't know, what are the most common other softwares you see? I mentioned AutoCAD Electrical a couple times. That's one I see.
Yeah, there's AutoCAD, AutoCAD Electrical, Visio. I've seen MicroStation. So it pretty much any 2D software uh, that you can draw in could be an electrical tool. There's some that are more specific, but a lot of times people are coming over from a 2D tool like AutoCAD or Visio.
Okay, is this a very different workflow for them to learn?
Not really, honestly. Now, that's like saying, hey, how do I design a cube inside of SolidWorks? I mean, between you and I, we could probably come up with like 10 or 12 different ways to
Yeah.
design a cube. And the same holds true for the workflow inside of SolidWorks Electrical. If you want to start with your schematic and then do your wiring and then go into 3D and place your components and do your 3D wiring, you can. That's one workflow. If you want to start in 3D and detail all the components and then go to 2D and wire them together, you could do that too. If you have a list of components in Excel that you want to import as a bill of material as a start point, you could do that too. So there's a number of different ways to get started and to design, especially if you're working in conjunction with 3D. There's a multitude of workflows that you could follow.